Man, I love ALF. Who doesn't love ALF? I should just make a channel on ALF to analyze why he's the reason why the 80s were so cool. Wait, I didn't write this at all. I think I'm supposed to talk about the French Revolution today. Oh well. In the 80s, ALF was one of the biggest things in pop culture. There was the sitcom, the cartoon, playing cards, alarm clocks, slippers, cakes, and he even appeared in Cartoon All-Stars. Wow, I just realized they sound like the narrator in the Goldbergs. But as a fan of ALF, I can't even say why I think it was so popular. Maybe it was because this show stuck out from other sitcoms since there was a live puppet. Maybe it was because ALF and his crazy personality. Or it could have been the marketing. I know that's how I got into it. I would always see ALF in pop culture, and he always seemed so strange to me that I bought the DVD for the first season. My fascination with extraterrestrials also helped quite a bit. But that's why I decided to make today's video on my favorite ALF episodes from season 1. This is for anyone who has no idea who ALF is and wants to watch the show, but doesn't know where to start. So sit back, grab some popcorn, get comfortable, because this is my personal top 12 season 1 ALF episodes. Number 12, I've Got a New Attitude. In this episode, ALF becomes a psychic and tries to communicate with the dead, more specifically Kate's father. This one has some funny moments and some great themes about moving on, and come on, you can't go wrong with Psychic ALF. Number 11, Looking Through the Windows. For some reason, it feels like a lot of family shows did the whole neighbor is a murderer plot. Hitchcock did it masterfully with Rear Window, Simpsons did it with Flanders and Bart, and ALF did it when he thinks that Mr. Almonic killed his wife. It doesn't do anything new or special, but it's ALF. Seeing how he handles his paranoia is funny and entertaining. Also, ALF's nightmare was... yeah, that was pretty cool, can't lie. Number 10, Border Song. When Willie brings home a lost Mexican immigrant, ALF befriends him. Super brief description, but that really is it without spoiling the whole episode. The kid and ALF have a nice little connection with each other since they both feel like they don't belong there. Overall, a nice and sweet episode. Number 9, Weird Science. ALF tells Brian how his solar system project is inaccurate, then calls the school principal to send a complaint. When it comes to story, this one isn't anything special, but I'm making this list based on the entertainment value and, well, this one's pretty entertaining. It's the classic ALF story with ALF doing something that puts Willie in an awkward situation. Number 8, Jump. Since the show is called ALF, obviously many episodes are centered around him. But in the 9th episode of this season, we get to spend more time with the main human character, Willie. Here, he realizes how safe and predictable his life turned out. When he finds an unfulfilled list of things he wanted to achieve, he decides that he wants to give skydiving another chance. But first he has to get over his own fears. This is an oddly inspiring episode. Like ALF, you root for Willie to jump and do something different with his life. The only issue I have with this is that I feel like the dream sequence went on for a bit too long. I'm sure it was just padding for the episode to hit its 21-minute runtime, but, you know, it happens. Number 7, Don't It Make Your Brown Eyes Blue. This is a weird one. ALF falls in love with Willie's daughter, Lynn. When she starts to see a boy named Scott, ALF becomes jealous and tries to sabotage their date. While I do really like the episode, the thing that steals the show for me is that ALF makes a music video to tell Lynn how he feels about her.
You're the one who's out of this world, sweet baby. You're the one who's out of this world. I'm spinning in an orbit I ain't never been in.
The song is surprisingly catchy, and I'm sure I can't be the only one to think that, especially since they ended up making a whole ALF album. Number 6, For Your Eyes Only. Here, ALF tries to make new friends and meets a blind woman. This is probably the second saddest episode from season 1, simply because we get to see how lonely ALF can get since he isn't allowed to risk getting caught. But don't forget, I said second saddest. The comedy in this one is also very solid. A lot of these episodes aren't really super strong in story, but this one is, so go give that a watch. Number 5, Looking for Lucky. Throughout the series, it's always mentioned that Alf would eat and drink cats back at his home planet in Melmac. The third episode of the series has Alf being blamed for the disappearance of Lucky, the family cat. Now Alf has to prove his innocence and his manlyhood. Keep in mind, this is only the third episode of the series, so Alf is still getting used to the whole don't eat cats rule, so it puts him in an interesting situation. The episode also takes a hilarious turn in the last 6 minutes. I like it when sitcoms kind of break out of their normal sets and do something different with camera angles or lighting or anything of that nature. Number 4. Help me, Rhonda. Okay, this has to be the saddest episode of the season. In this episode, we learn more about Alf's past life in Melmac and how he lost all of his friends along with a significant other. I love the flashback where you see how his life in Melmac was. If they made a prequel and it looked like that, I would watch it. Alf also gets back in contact with some survivors, so it's cool to see how that all plays out. Number 3. Wild Thing. I saw this episode on the top 10 worst Alf episodes list, and I'm not sure why. This was a very funny and interesting episode to me. Here, Alf tells the Tanners that as a Melmacian, he's going to go through a psychological transformation which happens every 75 years. The Tanners have to lock Alf up for 24 hours while he goes crazy and stuff. Seeing crazy Alf is great and actually kind of scary. The things he can do, spooky.
Mom, Dad, get me out of here! Lenny, that sounded just like you.
I just wish they brought back his ability to change voices in other episodes. I think that would have made for a really interesting concept. Number 2. ALF, or Alf. The episode that started it all. This was the very first episode I ever saw and I was hooked. You can tell they were still trying to figure everything out, especially with Alf's voice and the voiceover in the beginning.
This is the way it began, that extraordinary night. The night he came.
But what first episode doesn't do that, you know? Rewatching this, it's funny because the Tanners have no idea what they're getting themselves into. If you've never seen any Alf episode, definitely start with this one. And now for my number 1 favorite episode from season 1, La Cucaracha. This is definitely one of my favorite episodes of the entire show. Here, a cockroach from outer space is loose inside the Tanner's house. This episode has to be inspired by Ridley Scott's Alien, and honestly that's why I love it. If I saw this when I was 4, I honestly think it would have scared me. You never see a full body shot of the roach, but their description of it is enough to unsettle you a bit. It also doesn't help that I absolutely loathe cockroaches. That's one reason why I can't watch The Last Short and Creepshow. But either way, it's such a good episode. It's very well paced, and there's actual real tension in this. It's the only episode that gives me small Twilight Zone vibes, since it is 2 characters in one location trying to solve a spooky situation. Oh wait, that rhymes. Whenever I'm in an Alf mood, this is normally my default choice because I know I can't go wrong with it.
How big did it get?
Well, that depends. Do you measure with the shoulder or the head?
And that's all I have for you today. I'm sure if you're a fan of the show, you might not agree with my choices on this list, and that's completely fine. These are all just personal opinions anyway. But that's why I want to know, what would your top 12 list be? What Alf episodes do you connect with the most? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's top 12, I hope you consider liking the video, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell to find out when my next film or TV related video comes out. Until next time, keep watching the skies.